is the maker here for this next image because I want to talk.
And I'll just mention there, we've got no sets for B grade or AB grade, so these are all set A grade. And this is called flood victim.
Okay, set subject is, you're the maker. I might talk to you after, unless you're not embarrassed. Are you embarrassed easily, Ty? Do you Photoshop much?
Yeah.
Is this Photoshopped?
No.
Okay, well I won't make my comment.
I was going to tell a guy out of try to go around, this is the road, go out the back locker, and the farming was a dip there that floods all the time. And there just happened to be this green oil drum, and I got my son to kick it over a bit because I think in another shot.
Yeah, there's another shot later.
Yeah, and I just took a shot while it was floating by.
Okay. Now, I don't know if I say face or if I go into the breach and you all say, hey, he's the biggest idiot we've ever had, we never had him back. But I'm going to go with that option. I found, when I looked at it, I went, that's really funny. Because if you have a look at the fish, you're looking down on top of the fish, but you're also looking down on top of the boat. And if you have a look, now I know when you use really wide lenses, there's a sort of, it curves the foreground. And I don't know, I gather it might have been a wide lens, but the front here to me looks like the vanishing point for that would be somewhere around here, and there's the actual vanishing point. Now, again, if you're going to Photoshop to get proximity, because that boat could have, or well could have been way up here and the fish could have been way down here and you want the two of them together, you would probably counterpoint, so you'd have the drum over here, the fish over here, or vice versa. Doesn't really matter. One above each other in a triangle, it works, it's not bad. But if you're going to do that, that's the vanishing point, that's the vanishing points here. You move the vanishing point up, so you line up your vanishing points, and then in Photoshop and in Lightroom, I'm not sure where it is in Lightroom, but it's under geometry, you stretch it down so that the vanishing points are very close, so that when you look at it, you don't go, but it doesn't, almost looks like it must be on a high bank and there's a drop down to the river.
It's literally like,
And that's
and
the only other,
24/7.
that's the only other possibility, is that it's a big drop down to the river. But when I saw the PDI, and it's on a boat ramp or the track through the river, which you'll see later, I've gone back to this one and I'm going, all right, if that's there, why does it do that? But yeah, it's the back. No, it's what you said, this is high, and that's why you're looking down on both of them. And without seeing, because it looks like that's in the water, so how high that is, it's just lost. So it's a bit of a visual trick and left me wondering. So, good. If you're going to Photoshop it like within an inch of its life, but do it so well that the judge can't go, I feel there's something funny here. Don't let them look for problems. Okay. The next image is called The World with Generation Alpha. Okay, so I gather this guy's from Generation Alpha, and you've used a few props to symbolise global warming, climate change. I shouldn't say global warming because it's colder in some ways than ever before, so they've sort of stopped using global warming and they now call it climate change. But it's a great idea. He's got the world, he's holding it, and how mum and dad weren't particularly worried that he was, going to burn his hands, I don't know. I do know, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so you've got the glow on the back of the hands, which is perfect. Skin does reflect light, so you've done really well. Now, they've used, I'm guessing, soft light. Was it soft light?
Okay, so all of that flies in Photoshop.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah.
I'll pick that with the balls. You wouldn't let your kid do that for starters. And so, but if you're going to do, instead of going soft light, which on fabric, on certain things that have a bit of luster and shine, yeah, it works nicely. But the pants, it sort of looks like he's had an issue with staining, he's wearing old stained pants. Yeah, so you've done a great job, Fly, you've done the light. That pose, he looks quite like he's there and he's actually doing it. And he's got the, what do you call those arms, double jointed. And yeah, so kids is he's got the world, it's heating it up. Lots of story done by a few things. Well done. Okay, the next image is called Road Closed. And in fact, we have that, the road is closed.
Sorry, the iPad keeps turning off.
Oh, I don't know what that, I don't remember, I think those are still acceptances.
Yes.
Yeah, I think these are, sorry, 2 points, 2 pointers. This is a club that's 2 pointers, 3 pointers, 4 pointers and a 5 pointer. But don't give anyone 1 pointers. No, they didn't say that. But don't give anyone 1 pointer, otherwise you won't make it out the door on your way home. Okay, so this 2 pointer, you've got the road closed. This is the road. Now, you can tell that it was really flowing through there when it's still a bit overcast, but you can see the algae and the slime here has run down into the river. It's run back. There's nobody waiting. Everyone knows the road's closed, and it's closed like we have got more severe rain events from global warming. Nobody's arguing about that, and you have gone with the flood scenario. If you had some cars waiting, if it was when it was actually raging, more drama, more visual drama. Road closed, which is the name, you can see that it often floods here by several other signs. I'm not sure what that is, but I personally would have got rid of it because it doesn't add to the story being where it was located. But you've recorded what you've seen quite well with a nice reflection.
Changing seasons.
Okay, changing seasons, they've gone very creative, and the fire has been added in Photoshop, and they've done a great job adding the fire. They've got a blurry sort of background, and it looks like the world is burning, there is smoke. This is what's going to happen. Apart from the green grass, I might have taken and made a little bit like a dry brown dead grass. Now, this is great. The parent is saying, "Here, kid, have the world." You say, "No, I don't want it." Now, hands, like, first thing, my face, a lot of your story comes from my face. The second thing, you know, hands are the next most descriptive thing. And this kid's saying, "Look, don't give it to me, I don't want it." But he's going to inherit it, and we're going to suffer for it. Okay, I don't mind the way you've got like the opacity on the arms, so the arms are showing through. I don't particularly like it on there or on the world. The world, you possibly should have kept that solid. That is nice. I mean, that is nice and graphic. And you can see his second wrist is there. I might have even just used the lasso and brought another bit of his arm up and just kept it a bit darker, so it looks like Dad's got 2 arms, not just he's balancing it on one hand. Just a few little things like that. You've done a really good job. It's visually powerful. You conveyed the message. Just the opacity hasn't helped this side of it, but I think it works well that the kids, when you see that sort of opacity, it's like a dream. It's something that's going to happen. He is going to inherit it, but he doesn't want it. Okay.
No time.
Am I explaining this all right?
Yeah.
I'm not being too... Okay.
No time to move to higher ground.
Okay. That's a deep flood. It's not really moving. It's not doing that raw past. It could be, you know how they sort of said there's a lake. We've got semi-trailers and it's up to the top of the cab. And over here it's run into their shed. We feel very sorry for these people that own this. The clouds are sort of breaking up. Maybe something in the foreground. You've got a large area at the bottom, and the old judge's comment, check the real estate. I hate that comment. But unfortunately, if you had more of like maybe a reflection, if you had that oil drum that was in that one earlier, it's just some junk actually floating by in the foreground. It might have added to the foreground. But yeah, I think possibly, and I hate saying it, I think if I was looking at it as me, I would have got a big lens out and I would have brought the semis right up to their windows in.
Melted glacial ice.
Now, I've never seen glaciers and I've never seen the blue ice. And so I asked a couple of people and said, hey, is it actually this blue? And they assured me that yes, it is. Because I thought maybe it was a touch unsaturated. Absolutely love the reflection, the broken reflection in the broken ice of or the glacial ice that's floated out there. The colour range with the yellows and the complementary blue is nice, and sure are, you know, the glaciers are likely to melt before I ever get to photograph them.
The last kangaroo.
I think that's on the road to Winton, and the reason I think that's on the road to Winton is those trees, because I photographed, it's as flat as that, and there are these trees over in the distance, and you've got a kangaroo that's been hit by a car or something. There's too many green things, and they're hardy little animals, and they will survive, even as far as when they have, like every time they having babies, they have two, and they allow one fetus to adapt, like grow and develop, and then they can have a second one later. They can actually pause the development of the second fetus 50 times as bad. So, yeah, you've got a dead kangaroo on the side of the road. There's a bit of food around, but he doesn't have a skull. Some clown has come through and gone, oh, there's a dead kangaroo, let's take that skull. And I feel that it would be better with the skull than without a skull. Might need to find a kangaroo skull, photograph it and put it into this one. Just a suggestion. Yeah, that would be fine too.
Life getting harsher.
Now, here's that same sort of...
It does have a skull.
Where's his skull?
There's his jaw. There's a cervical spine. There's his jaw there. No, that's his jaw.
Sorry. Judge didn't know what he's talking about. He's an absolute idiot. We'll never have him back. Okay, you've got an ibex. I'm pretty sure it's an ibex, and he's on absolutely barren ground. He's got a couple of tufts of food. The way it suddenly drops now, again, see there's like almost a hard line apart from this bush that runs across, so it almost looks like we have a foreground and we've got a different back, which is fine. There's a few little things in there that indicate like plots over here that it's not. The other thing is, if you have a look at the texture of the ground here, it looks very different further back. So one or two things that is on the top of a ridge that goes down, which is a possibility, or you've done it. If you've done it, maybe along here, just blend it sort of more subtly so that it varies, or take some of this texture and shrink it down, like Control T, transform, take the whole foreground, take it back a section and shrink it so that the rock size sort of fits. If you've done nothing, you've confused me, well done.
I've done nothing.
Okay. The long drive.
Okay, not sure if this is total contrast or vignette for the blue in the sky. I know you've used like a bleach bypass to create the feeling that it's very harsh and the climates are very harsh. You've got the subject and a counterpoint with some other reedy grasses. It is harsh condition, and Australia, 800 years ago, when before that Australia wasn't like it was in Europe, when they started the Industrial Revolution, they burnt all the trees, and as the way the airs and rain flow comes, Australia dried out because of burning the trees and forests in Europe for the Industrial Revolution. I remember funny little points like that. You can ask me what I had for tea, and I don't even know. What do I have for tea, Phil? Yeah, so yeah, it is harsh. It is definitely fits within category. There's drama. The bleach bypass fits nicely in the